StabilityWOD. Yesterday we talked about some common CrossFit movements and trying to find that balance between stability and breathing. And while I want to come back at some point to talk about breathing during cardiovascular exercise or running, rowing, swimming, cycling, those types of things, today we're going to go to the other extreme. We're going to talk about how to hold your breath to do a max lift. I'm going to use a deadlift as an example, but know that this carries over to picking up anything, a kid, a heavy bag of concrete or mulch off the ground. This time of year we're all landscaping, so we always need to be picking things up, groceries, you name it. This same breath hold technique is what keeps your spine safe when you're picking up something heavy or awkward. So a deadlift is a great way to practice it, but there are many other ways during your day to practice. We're gonna go out to the gym and I'm gonna do some demo. See you there. So generally before I do any heavy lifting, whether it's in my yard or in the gym, I'll make sure I'm really warmed up. Now this is a really abbreviated version, but I generally start with some air squats to get my whole body warm, activated. I'll drop down, do some Spider-Man lunge stretches on both sides with my back real straight to get my hips super mobile. Might jump back and forth a few times to get the muscles activated. Because my hamstrings and my hip flexors are on the tight side, I really feel leg swings are important for me because pretty quickly they open up and they allow me to gain the mobility I need to get to the bottom position in a healthy place. If I'm going to do anything overhead, I'll take some time to mobilize my thoracic spine, open up my shoulders, but in this case, I'll do some jumping lunges to increase the power coming out of my legs, then I'm ready. So as I approach the bar, I do a few things like set my feet where I want them, and then check in with my glutes and my abs to make sure they're tight and ready for action. I'll go down to address the bar. When I'm ready, I'll set my spine neutral, including my neck, and I'll take my first breath. At the top, I breathe out, reset it, and do a full lift to the ground and back up before I breathe out and reset. Breathe out, reset, hold my breath the whole time until I get back to the top. Breathe out, reset, hold my breath, and then I'll lower to the ground on the last rep with a breath hold until I'm done. Now while I'm not doing super heavy lifts, it's still important to get the breath hold before each rep. Check my abs, check my glutes, drop down, set up. I tighten my abs and my pelvic floor again, hold my breath, make the lift. Breathe out at the top, there's my reset, breathe in, hold my breath till I get back up. Breathe out, breathe in, hold my breath, breathe out, breathe in. Every time I come to the top, I put the lid on the cylinder and that air fills and pressurizes my trunk. Keep my back really rigid, really safe until the lifting is over. Here's a close-up view. While I don't usually make my check of my abs and my glutes this intentional, you get the point. After I set my feet, I track my pelvic floor and my abs as I set my neutral position and my shoulder blades. Take my breath, I'm gonna hold it till the top, I'm gonna reset, and then I'm gonna hold that breath through the whole next rep till I stand up again. I'm resetting every time at the top, and I hold my breath through the bottom of the lift till I'm done. One last view here. You're gonna see me at the top of the lift this time. I'm going to do a little hyperventilation, which I find very helpful to keep me from getting lightheaded because the breath holding doesn't allow a lot of time for breathing under load. I'm going to go down, set up for the lift. I'm going to take my initial breath at the bottom, and they're going to see me reset the breath at the top each time. First I'm breathing out, then I'm resetting. The diaphragm goes back on the top. The breath fills the cylinder with air, and I'm very stable. I like to tell people if you're not looking funny, making funny faces during these movements, you're not doing them right. Take this with a couple other movements. I'll do an overhead squat. Now before I pop the bar overhead, I already have tension in my body. But I'm going to take my breath right before I start my lift, hold it to the bottom, breathe out. Reset, hold it through the bottom, breathe out. Reset, breathe out. My lumbar spine is rigid and indestructible. Front squat and back squat are not much different. I get a little tension in my body, 4 to 5 out of 10 to pick the bar up. I set my abs, set my pelvic floor, take my breath, the diaphragm pressurizes the cylinder, hold it, breathe out at the top. Reset. Notice what it does to my elbows. Breathing in actually makes them higher, which is always good for front squatting. So as I was filming the video, I was having a conversation with our Olympic lifting coach about missed reps and the idea that sometimes when you're not focused on maintaining tension in your body, things go sideways. And it's really hard for others to see. It's something that you really have to be able to feel in your body. The one thing I wanted you to take away from this video was the idea that before you set up for a lift, whether it's something in your yard or something at the gym, you want to have a very strong intention around setting your abdominal corset, your transverse abdominis, your pelvic floor, and taking that breath hold before you set up in the right position to make that a successful and safe lift. I want you to go practice. Please let me know, as always, if you have any questions or comments. Tomorrow I want to talk a little more about how breathing works when it's continuous, when you're not doing something heavy and you don't have to hold your breath, but you have to breathe for long periods of time during cardiovascular exercise, running, cycling, etc. So join me tomorrow. Thanks again. See you then.